Brompton Technology นั่นคือสปีกเกอร์ต่อไปที่เราจะมาคุยกันเมื่อกี้พี่กบก็พูดถึงแล้วนะฮะว่าตัวจอด้านหลังเนี่ยใช้ processor ของ Brompton Technology ซึ่งเป็น processor ที่ดีที่สุดในโลกในเรื่องของการทำภาพยนตร์แล้วเดี๋ยวเราจะมีสปีกเกอร์ที่มาคุยกันด้วยนะครับตอนนี้เป็นยังไงบ้างเอ่ยพร้อมต่อได้เลยเนาะโอเคยังไงขอบคุณมากๆนะครับสำหรับทุกคนที่ให้ความสนใจนะฮะกับงานของเราในวันนี้นะฮะเราไปกันต่อเลยดีกว่าหลังจากที่เราพูดถึงเรื่องของ virtual world กันไปแล้วนะครับเซสชั่นต่อไปเจาะลึกหน่อยสำหรับสายที่ทำโปรดักชันจริงๆนะครับนั่นคือ virtual technical นั่นเองนะครับอย่างที่ได้บอกไปว่าเดี๋ยวเราจะได้คุยกับตัวแทนนะฮะจากบริษัทที่ผลิต processor LED ที่ดีที่สุดในโลกในการทำภาพยนตร์นั่นคือ Brompton Technology ตอนแรกผมเห็นชื่อนี้และเชื่อว่าสายจักรยานเรื่องรถจักรยาน Brompton มาคุยวันนี้ด้วยไม่ใช่นะฮะไม่ใช่อันนี้เป็นเทคโนโลยีในเรื่องของ processor อย่างที่ได้บอกไปนะครับถ้าทุกคนทุกท่านพร้อมแล้วนะครับเรามาพบกับสปีกเกอร์ท่านต่อไปได้เลยนะครับ Please welcome Regional Technical Manager APAC of Brompton Technology from UK A round big applause to Mr. Ka-Ming Lee ขอบคุณครับปรบมือดังๆหน่อยครับ Thank you Mr. Lee
Hello
Welcome
Hello everyone
Yes
Right let's get started then Right Hello everyone Welcome and thanks for having me on this amazing event My name is Ka-Ming I'm the Regional Technical Manager from Brompton Technology and what that means is my job is to help you to get the most performance out of Brompton. And today we're going to talk a little bit about cameras and color management features. Well, I know a lot of you are already very familiar with Brompton and our line of products. We don't make folding bikes. We are a British manufacturer of processing products for LED video walls. We were founded in 2012, almost 12 years. We focus on innovations that delivers reliable solutions, highly featured product, and we have an exceptional team in after sales and technical support, including myself. We are independent. We partner with all LED manufacturers. Right, as we all know, the pandemic has changed the industrial landscape quite a lot. Prior to 2019, Brompton has been focusing quite a lot on rental and live events. And in the past 2 years, we've spent a lot of R&D times in virtual production, features on studio production, XR and VR. Right, that's our new headquarters. We actually moved to a bigger office quite recently. That's at the end of 2022. And we've now settled in Chiswick, London, occupying the entire building that offers extra space for increased manufacturing demand. And now we have a dedicated demo area and a testing zone as well. Right, up next. This is a general XR and VP workflow chart. On the left, we have the media part. The media server is going to serve you with your video source and also the graphical UI that controls your video. In the middle, that's the camera. Two cameras on this, actually. A tracking system that's feeding the space info, your X, Y, Z position back to your media server. And then your media server is going to find out what to deliver to the processor, which controls the panel. And if we zoom in a little, on the back of each of these LED panel, it sits a R2 or R2 Plus receiver card. And that enables the communications between the panels and the processor. And am I missing something? yeah, last but not least, we have our synchronization generator. That's a signal that, it's the pacekeeper of the entire system, so enabling the entire thing to, work on the same pace. So that's our R2 receiver card, an upgraded version from the original R2 design, which doubles the pixel capacity of the original green little card. And that's the look of the SS40 processor, our flagship processing unit. It supports HDMI 2.0 and 12 gig SDI to the full bandwidth. So that was a little bit about who we are and what we do. And let's talk a little bit about the features that we have to work with cameras. So cameras are not designed to, with LED screens in mind. So in order for them to work together, we have to match the timing of the two. And that's what ShutterSync is used for. It basically replicates a copy of your camera settings in the processor. So instead of tuning your camera to the LED screen, which sometimes doesn't even possible, we basically just match the LEDs to the camera. Yeah, that's the UI of the control panel. You can select your shutter mode there, speed, angle, and also sensor type. High frame rate. So high frame rate reduces input lag. It gives you a smoother visual kind of experience. Our processor support content up to 251 frames per second. High frame rate support is important because it allows other frame processing feature to be enabled. And one of it is the frame remapping. Frame remapping is a feature that an extension of the original frame multiplication. Frame multiplication, as the name suggests, it multiplies the input video source, and that enables the high frame rate on our processor. So frame remapping basically interlaces extra sets of content in between your video frames, and multiple cameras can be synced to all these different sets. So, which means you basically capture, multiple scenes. I think on our SS40, you can capture up to 6 different virtual scenes, all at the same time. And other applications include insertion of black frames. That's a very common technique to reduce motion blur. And also, you can insert a blue or green frame in between your video frames for your post-production keying. Right, tracking markers. I think I'd shout out to Miss Nook Yapapak. And yeah, VP from Moses. I think she's a third speaker in line. She's got some really amazing video on her presentation, so I'll let her expand on this. We work with Moses system to track camera positions. The feature essentially uses the frame remapping feature to insert marker frames, which means your marker frames, your markers, they are not going to appear on your main camera, and neither will there be any reflections of them. So those are some features that allow easier kind of integration with camera. Once we have the cameras ready, then we want to capture the perfect image. And centered to that is accurate color. HDR. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. It's essentially an upgrade. or a replacement. Some might see it, from the traditional gamma interpretation of colors. They are essentially a bunch of transfer functions that are defined over a much higher brightness range, all the way up to 10,000 nits. Without going into all these details, the quality improvements it gives you includes increased brightness range, a wider color gamut, and a higher bit depth in your video. Dynacal. Dynacal is a coin word from dynamic calibration. So in a traditional way, when a panel is calibrated, the worst performing LED is going to define the performance of that entire batch. And because of this, it basically limits the good ones to perform at their best. And Dynacal is essentially a tool that rebalances uniformity, brightness, and saturation, and allows the user to change your calibration target in real time, so it unleashes more performance from your panel. Right, these are some more generic kind of color management tools. We have Color Replace. It's essentially, think of Photoshop of your input video content. The user can basically select a particular color in your video feed. You either fine-tune it or replace it by some other colors completely. 14-way color correct is a tool that allows you to adjust primary, secondary, and tertiary color, all independently without affecting each other. Right, so these are the more kind of scientific way or some more accurate way of doing things. So you can insert the numbers, change the values by percentage. More accurate way of changing things. We also offer some more artistic way of tuning things. So curves remaps video levels, for each color channel. That's RGB and also a global white. It adjusts the look of the video, so useful for tuning the appearance for on-camera performance. We also have 3D LUT support. You can upload a 3D LUT to our processor. This is very commonly used in film production because it's essentially a filter that sets the feel of your entire virtual set, and people use it for color calibration and also color grading. Right, that's color. And panels in studio usually display at a dimmer level. And human eyes are very sensitive to details in low brightness. So getting things right in low brightness or in the dark is really crucial. And Brompton has got a few features to improve things in this domain. Pure tone. So a lot of the hardware engineers might have the experience that some panels doesn't have kind of neutral kind of grayscale. It looks cyanish on the dark side, and that's because output characteristic for RGB LEDs, they are not all identical, and definitely not linear. So, and red is usually the most having the most kind of color drift from its linearity. And Pure Tone is a tool that profiles all the LEDs in your panel and corrects that color drifting. So getting rid of that cyanish look in the dark side. Extended bit depth. This is a feature that uses high refresh to increase the PWM precision. If you don't understand, come to our booth. It unlocks up to 3.3 additional PWM bits, and what that means is we will have a improvement on the image detail by 10 times. That's 2 to the power of 3.3. And we can have, well, that's an illustration on the additional dynamic range added to the grayscale. Operating modes, so you want dedicated modes to be used to, for your dedicated purposes. Modes are basically sets of configuration added to prioritize different things. You might want to prioritize, high refresh, for example, for esports events, for example. These added modes can switch in real time from the UI and can basically give you more control on your panel performance. And for all that to happen, you need your panel to be calibrated, and we offer an all-in-one solution. That's our Hydra calibration system. It allows full per pixel calibration, and it provides a pure tone profiling as well. And in fact, this panel is calibrated by Hydra, and on the back of this sits around 400 R2 cards, and they are controlled by 2 XS40 processors up there. And like everyone else, let me wrap up and finish up by showing you a video. There's some features we have, some of them we touch based. And these are some big names and projects that Bromptons are involved in. That's it. Thank you. I think I have a few minutes for a Q&A session, so if anyone's got questions. No? All good? Yeah. We are at that corner, Brompton Technology, so if you got any question or just, in general want to talk about things, Thomas and I are more than happy to have a conversation with you, so come along and Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, Mr. Lee from Brompton Technology.